Why Canada wasn't able to produce vaccines. Yesterday at the Industry Committee, we heard some interesting things. For example, from Dr. Gary Kobinger, a microbiologist at Laval University's Faculty of Medicine. He said, I believe 2 or even 3 different platforms could have been made available here in Canada to deliver vaccines if we had received proper support. Madam Speaker, why did this government not offer adequate support? The Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, since the beginning of the pandemic, we have announced major investments in promising Canadian opportunities. Dr. Kobinger said that Medicago was the first opportunity that he would have looked at, and we agree. That is why we invested up to $173 million in Medicago in order to support their creation of a bioproduction facility in Quebec. We have facilitated Dr. Kobinger's research with a $1 million investment using an expert-validated selection process. And we are very pleased to be able to support this kind of research. The Honourable Member for Louis Saint-Laurent. Madam Speaker, it is the Quebec government that ultimately rescued this scientist and his research. But it's not just scientists that have an issue with this government's inertia when it comes to developing vaccines in Canada. The president of Merck Canada said that there has been a climate of mistrust and an absence of constructive dialogue, and that it's impossible to understand why our industry is not mentioned as a priority sector. Why has this government failed to listen to either the industry or scientists? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Madam Speaker, we need to make the facts clear. From the beginning, we have known that we needed to listen to scientists to determine what vaccines should be used in Canada and what investments were necessary to support our production facilities in Canada. And that is why we have set up vaccine and COVID therapy working groups, bringing together scientists and industry leaders to guide us. The working groups have provided us remarkable guidance with regard to the foreign vaccines we should purchase, which led to contracts with many different companies and investments. The Honourable Member for Louis Saint-Laurent. Madam Speaker, the Parliamentary Secretary talked about the facts. Well, let's talk about the real facts. Once again, as we've seen this morning, Canada is very low down in the vaccine ranking, 56th. Barely 3% of Canadians have been vaccinated, and at the end of March will be at barely 8%. Madam Speaker, vaccines are what is going to enable us to exit this crisis. What is this government's plan for our economic recovery? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Madam Speaker, as my colleague knows very well, we received great news this morning as a 3rd vaccine has been approved. That will be added to the total amount of vaccines coming into the country now at high speed, with 6 million vaccines having arrived just from Pfizer and Moderna by the end of March. More than 14 million Canadians will be able to be vaccinated by June, and the whole country will be able to be vaccinated by September. That's economic recovery, Madam Speaker.
Speaker, when it comes to calling out genocide, the Liberals have gone from abstention to obstruction in just a few days. Last night, they filibustered to keep the committee from adopting a report on the Uyghur genocide. When my colleague from Wellington Halton Hills moved unanimous consent to get to the report, Liberal members refused. Why would they turn a blind eye to government-coordinated rape, torture, indoctrination, and forced sterilization? Why are the Liberals holding up further action to call out the Uyghur genocide in China?
Well, Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that question. And this government takes any accusation of genocide extremely seriously, and we've repeatedly said that we remain disturbed by troubling reports of human rights violations in Xinjiang. We've repeatedly called upon the international community to work to investigate the egregious human rights abuses taking place in Xinjiang, and we have repeatedly called for international investigation in response to these allegations. We'll continue to stand up for human rights in Canada and around the world. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Portage Lisgar.
stand up? The Liberal government abstained. That is disgraceful answer, Madam Speaker. And during debate, multiple Liberal members said they wanted to know what Canada could do to support a genocide declaration. So when the committee tried to offer those ideas, it was the Liberals who stonewalled, clearly under the direction of the Prime Minister. This confirms that the Prime Minister is more worried about angering his friends in Beijing than acting on the will of this House and standing up to bullies and tyrants. Why is this Prime Minister all talk and no action when it comes to the communist regime in China?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Monday's vote in Parliament ensured that every member indeed had a chance to voice their opinion and to make a determination based on available evidence to express that concern. That is now the voice of Parliament. It's Parliament's view, and the Government of Canada welcomes parliamentarians working together on this critical issue. But the government has additional responsibilities, and it is working with the international community to ensure that these allegations are investigated by international independent body of legal experts. They are doing what they need to do, and Parliament has done what it needs to do. Thank you, Madam Speaker.